Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Streampunks live play of Ember Squad, the Age of Rebellion Star Wars game that we just started up today. So if you're curious about whether or not you've got any episodes to catch up on, the answer is no. This is our first game session. It's good to see everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've got a big game to jump into tonight. We just threw this campaign together in about 5 days. About that right, Sam? Something like that. So we hope you enjoy how Slapdash Streampunks just gets things done when we really want to play some Star Wars. Before we start our session tonight, just a couple of announcements real fast right off the top. We've been getting a couple of questions Streampunks has about the development cycles and what's going on with Clear Skies Frontier. We will have more information about that coming up soon, y'all. Thank you so much for being patient. That is in development, and I'm very much looking forward to getting back to the trekking that we do in the stars on occasion. But tonight we're warring against them because they've had it too good for too long. Let's see, what else do we have going on tonight? Does anybody else have any announcements, any projects that they're doing, anything that they want to announce to our punks? Oh, yes, Gina, do you have something going on, Gina?
Hi, yeah, I started hosting a craft stream called Good at Stuff over on the Crown channel. Each week I interview a really cool person and then we make something together based on the thing that they've inspired me to think of that week. It's very fun. Check it out. We were only doing our third episode tomorrow. It's tomorrow from 4 to 6 Pacific Standard Time, 7 Eastern Time, if that's where you are. So it's really fun. Please go check it out. I'm crafting every week. It's a lot, and it's a lot of fun. Bye.
Watch Gina be better at this than anyone on like morning or daytime TV. Just straight up watch it.
Yep.
And be amazed. It's so good. I know how good you think it is because it's Gina and it's crafting, but it's better.
All right. So, with that pitch in mind, let's do one thing before we actually start into the game tonight, and then we can give the final word on announcements if anybody has anything else. But before we even actually begin the narrative, we're doing something a little different in the order. We are going to, right off the top of the bat, roll our destiny points and our duty roll. So, and I'll get your giggles out now because duty is going to come up a lot in this game, and just get it out now. Just get it done. Get it out now.
It's that duty.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Okay, just get it out.
It's funny because it's like poop.
Yeah. All right. So, right off the top, I'm going to have everyone, and I'll take it in turn order. Elias, if you would please roll me that force die so we can track light side and dark side points right off the top. That's one light side for the Alliance. All right. That would be Lon. If you would please roll that white die. 2 light side. Okay, the light side is with y'all. Myth, if you would please roll that white die for us. 2 more. Okay, not bad for your first session. MT2, if you would please. And roll me that white destiny die.
The destiny die.
It's checking. The white 12-sided, yeah.
Okay, this one?
1 dark side. Why, thank you, Gina.
You're welcome.
Okay. Stucky, if you would please roll me that destiny die.
All right, let's break the trend here. Yeah. Oh, that didn't go well. Roll dice. There we go.
2. Okay. I am disappointed. So, right off the top, I'm going to tell everybody watching at home that one of the things that we're doing that's a little different than we normally do with our points here is that obviously at the top of the game, we roll destiny points, and that is to determine whether the light side or the dark side has the upper hand at the top of the session. But we're also doing things a little differently right now, and this is sort of in an experimental phase. But right now, based off of our big supporters over on our Streampunks Patreon, you guys have the ability to donate light side points to our characters. Now, the thing that's unique about the light side points that you can give to our players is that it does not cause the dark side to become more powerful. It does not flip. However, this is limited. They can only use 5 of these per game. In other words, only 1 per player. So once a player has used one of these, they can't use any more until the next game session, and they have to go right back to the pool. Also, as a fair warning to all my players, I am a ardent defender of my ability to use dark side points, which means if I catch you guys not spending light side during the game or hoarding light side, I will inadvertently flip things to the dark side and start changing the balance myself. So spend points because things will get very Palpatine up in here if you don't. Let's see. Or I should go less force. I should say it's going to get very Thrawny in here. So that being said, let's go ahead right now, and I'm gonna roll 2d10, and this is going to determine the duty score. So right now, at the top of every game, based on each individual player, their rebel has a duty score. It's something that they believe in, something that brought them to the Rebel Alliance, the reason why they fight. Each one of them has assigned a point score to one of the things that they've selected, be it support or combat victory or whatever they've selected to be their duty score. That's been divided up, and now I'm going to roll 2d10. If I roll that number or lower, you guys gain an extra wound point for the rest of the game. So you become just a teensy bit harder to kill. If I roll doubles, then whoever that is going to have affected is going to get, or rather, I'll get to that in a second. But if I roll your number when I roll the 2d10, because I assigned a number to everybody. If I roll your number, that effect will double for you, and you will get 2 wound points. And your specific duty will also trigger that game, and we can figure out how that goes in the narrative. If I ever roll doubles, then it doubles, and we'll get to that as it comes. But let's go ahead and kick things off. I'm going to roll 2d10 now, and y'all will be able to see it there on the screen. 68.
So close.
Unfortunately,
Not nice at all.
Not nice. So the no duty
I
score
was
is going to kick
just sitting
in.
here wondering who might have that.
Yeah, unfortunately, y'all's duty score is currently sitting at a wholesome 40. So that's going to be over your score. And so no benefits this time around. All right. So now that our prep for the campaign has begun, any final announcements before we jump into our mission tonight? Yes, Sam. You were nodding. I saw you nodding.
Oh, yeah. Is there anyone, though? I don't want to...
Anybody else? No?
Okay.
Oh, yes, Anita. What's up?
Nora and I host a morning show on my channel. It's Critical Misses. And we're actually going to Gen Con to do it live. So if you're in the Indianapolis area around that time of year, come back, wear a mask, and come hang out with us.
Yes. Awesome. Yes, it's on Saturdays, right? Typically? Saturday mornings?
Mm-hmm. Saturday mornings.
Yeah, y'all get everybody on that show. Yeah.
We have no idea how. Sorry.
Oh,
never
really?
underestimate the power of asking.
Talk in depth about how incredibly charming you are. Y'all should watch that morning show, because never have you seen some of your faves in TTRPGs just so delighted and so happy. They're such good hosts. I've talked many times about how I can't hang out with Nora that much because I will smile until my face hurts, like a lot. But I keep coming back. But unfortunately, I am truly the sinner, because I counter stream against this lovely morning show. And this weekend I'm doing my 2-year stream anniversary, 25 months on the 25th. I'm doing it for Rainbow Road, much like this channel is. Please remember, this month, in our month of Pride, your subs and bits to this channel go to helping a really lovely organization that helps LGBTQIA people around the world who are facing violence and persecution. So we will be fundraising on my channel for that this weekend. So I can only hope that my lovely friends who are going to War with the Stars with me can somehow forgive me. But either way, I'm really just happy that this group is here and that the stars are finally getting what they deserve, and I'm excited.
All right, y'all. Let's begin the epic story of Ember Squad. All right. The bridge of the Rock Skipper is a stark contrast to the rest of the confined corridors and passageways. Here, the space opens into a two-tiered theater of war. Above, on wide walkways lined with dazzling tactical computers and comm stations, are a host of some of the finest the Alliance Navy has to offer, always in a flurry of activity. Down below, where you entered, is commonly referred to as the Pit, when not being called its official name, the CIC. In this circular space, there's a dip in the center of the room where the briefings can be held in a seating arrangement that resembles a mini amphitheater. The hollow display of your current sector contrasted beautifully by the grand viewport on the opposite side of the room. Beyond that great window is a stunning view of the galaxy. A galaxy that looks magnificent and peaceful, but peaceful it is not. The Rock Skipper was originally named the Hope's Rise, but that changed after your commander, a Duros named Genser Ven, led it through a punishing gambit and threaded an asteroid field to save refugees fleeing an Imperial frigate. The damage to the hull was extensive, and there are imperfections and impact points still visible in its titanium-reinforced hull today, a fact every member of its crew takes immense pride in. In fact, its commander Vim you are here to see. The Duros CO stands before the hollow projector, studying the rebel fleet positions and intelligence reports, following the sightings and movements of the Imperial Navy. Upon the sight of you all, he waves you all over and gestures for you to sit down in front of the hollow projector. Even as he is set to begin telling you why you're all here, he's being swarmed by officers presenting him with data pads and requesting one-word approvals on time-sensitive objectives. All right. Settle in. A few of the officers back away from him as they kind of take the cue that he is about to go into a briefing. And as you all settle in, his large red eyes scan over the lot of you, and his expressive features form a gentle smile right at you. Welcome aboard the Rock Jumper. I know you've actually all been here for a moment. I try to take time to meet every transfer and every new recruit I get, but things have been a little trickier than usual lately, so let me just get right into this. We're forming a new unit for the 7th Regiment Spec Force Technicians, codenamed Ember Squad. You were either selected or you volunteered and assigned to me. Now, I know some of you might be wondering how that came to be. I know that some of you are little more than recruits. You might take your assignment as a sign of desperation on behalf of the Alliance Command, but you couldn't be more wrong. The truth is, we know good people when we see them. We know talent, and we know how to build a team. So, if you have any insecurities about why you're here, take this moment to indulge them, and then get them the hell off my bridge. While you're at it, out of my damn army. He allows himself a moment to eye you all critically, testing to see if anyone will speak out of turn. And then he continues. Today's the moment you've all been waiting for. Your first mission. As you know, since our victory at Yavin, the Empire has been pushing Alliance forces with near reckless zeal, pursuing us into the Outer Rim. This has not only caused us to retreat to the Outer Rim, but it's also created some unique opportunities for us as well. For that, and for the mission details, I'll hand things over to your squad leader. And he motions as an Alliance officer rolls into view. What you see is a human being wearing the heavy clothes of a rebel soldier. His black hair is cut short and neat, but it's difficult to place his age. The lines on his deep brown skin could be either from life experience or years lived, likely both. His chair that he uses is a combination of manual and power, and what appears to be a repulsor attachment underneath. He tilts his chin up at all of you as he speaks. Ember Squad, my name is Corporal Maro Tillo, and I'm the one that's going to make sure we all get home safe. I regret we don't have too much time to get to know one another, especially important with a new unit like this. But our window is small and we need to act fast. As the Alliance fleet retreats, we're having to scramble to gather assets from worlds we believe to be compromised, where our presence could also endanger the local population if the Empire deems them to be rebel sympathizers. This is an extraction mission. The rock skipper is jumping here. And he motions up to the hollow as you see the hollow begin to shift and turn, and it zooms in on the system. You see this nav point being directed, this glowing line connecting to this system that you see inside the mid-rim. The rock skipper is jumping to the SETI Okaram system. Okaram, as you can see, is located in the mid-rim. Once we exit hyperspace, we'll be in hostile territory, which means even though we had a presence on Okaram is going to be also considered hostile. Our primary mission objective is Z Prelo. And he presses a button, and you see on the hollow a Rhodian female just comes up. You see the file immediately displayed in front of all of you. And he continues speaking. She's Rhodian intelligence officer. Extracting her is going to be our first priority. In her last contact with command, Z revealed she had acquired intelligence on the location of a poorly guarded Bacta supply facility planetside. Our secondary objective then is to verify her intelligence, and if an opportunity presents itself, raid the Bacta facility for supplies and destroy what we can't take. Now, before this makes anyone uncomfortable, he raises his hand and he swivels and turns to face all of you and just says, the Bacta is intended for the Imperial Navy and its operations. This will only have an impact on the civilians of Okaram if we lead the Imperials to believe that the civilians are helping us. So, playing our cards close to the chest is the name of the game here. We're undercover. We can't involve anyone. Is that understood? And he looks at everyone, waiting for a reply.
All right, Captain.
And he waits for everyone to acknowledge that as he eyes everybody. Is that understood?
Of course, sir.
Hush, hush. Got it.
Yes, sir.
Our drop point is here. And he brings up a topographic map and says, this is just 3 kilometers outside of Okaram City. We'll aggress the same way. And that's when the commander of Vem steps back forward and he says, Ember Squad, I don't envy you your first mission. You only have 48 hours to get our agent out of there. The Imperial Navy is on the move, and they'll be alerted to the rock skipper's presence the moment we arrive in system to extract you. Our people desperately need that Bacta, but Bacta is replaceable. Personnel is not. Don't forget that when considering your secondary objective, and do what you can to protect citizens, even if it means protecting civilians from themselves. Well then, he folds his hands behind his back and says, this is your time for questions. Anything you want to know, ask now. Nothing?
I raise a hand.
Yes, Private, your name?
Lon Ortha, sir.
Private Ortha. Go
How close exactly are we getting dropped off here, and how are we flying in? If the Imperials are going to be right on our tail the moment we pop into the system, are we going to cut it close even just to get on the planet?
You'll be taking a shuttle in. It's being supplied by us. There's enough traffic coming and going out of Okaram that it's not going to be easily noticed. The truth of the matter is after the flurry of activity, after our victory at Yavin, there's been a lot of spaceport activity. The Empire is locking down some of its less protected worlds, and the civilians who don't want to be caught there are fleeing in mass. In fact, one of the unfortunate situations that's begun to develop is there are some who are seeking to avoid the new clampdown by the Empire. So we're watching a mass migration heading closer and closer to the edges of the Outer Rim. In that chaos, we plan on sneaking you on in the shuttle. Now, do be aware that there will be an Imperial presence already on Okaram. They won't be en masse, but we do believe it is an objective for them to lock down the facility. If it is poorly guarded now, surely that's going to be rectified soon enough.
That was going to be my question. What kind of Imperial presence can we expect?
You see he kind of glances over at your CO, and your CO doesn't look happy. if there's one thing you're starting to learn about Corporal Tillo is that he is already very expressive when it comes to his disapproval of some of the command decisions. And Vim looks back at you and says, "We don't have that intelligence, unfortunately."
Well, then someone has to get it, I suppose. That could be me.
He nods and says, "Frankly, Z Prelo is our only intelligence in that system. We were relying upon her to get us any of the information that we needed. She has stopped broadcasting. We assume she has gone dark because of how hot things have gotten in Ocurum. Truth of the matter is the Imperial presence, we believe, has begun ramping up there. So that is why our window is so short. We must get in and get out in 48 hours. I'm going to be honest with you." And he steps forward. "If that window closes, the Rock Skipper will have to jump and leave system. If that happens, your orders are to lay low and hold out as long as you can. Don't draw attention to yourselves. And always do not endanger the civilians. We will come back for you."
At that part, you hear a lot of like rusty, squeaky metal kind of sounds as a tiny hand raises to mimic the last time someone spoke.
Okay.
So just, and then, "I would like clarification on the civilians. You said protect them at all costs, even from themselves. Are you giving permission to terminate?"
MT, everyone, this is MT2.
"Hello,
No,
I am your
no.
medical technician."
Oh boy, this is just getting better and better.
No, MT.
"Please clarify."
Protect them from themselves. What I mean by that is there are going to be civilians who will want to aid you. They will want to participate. They will want to join. And while we would normally be happy to have them, there are greater concerns to think about. If it's a civilian that could be linked to, say, the leadership of the city, or if they have family, keep that in mind. We don't want the Empire to suspect their involvement. We have reason to believe there would be retribution, not just against anybody who would be helping us, but against the citizens of Ocurum themselves.
Understood.
Use discretion.
So restrain.
Restrain. And as a final note, and I hate that I have to warn you of all this, there are going to be Imperial sympathizers among the citizenry as well. Be very careful who you trust and who you speak to.
Affirmative.
Hey, so even if we don't crong this all up, I'm just kind of curious. How do we know that Z hasn't already, I don't know, gotten in good with the town folk, leading the Empire to, take out their anger on this world once we leave it?
So Commander Vim begins to open his mouth when Corporal Tillo cuts him off. Your CO goes, "Knowing Z, she already has." And he looks a little like each one of you don't have to make a roll here. You can perceive there's history. He just says, Z will probably have already done everything she can to galvanize whoever she can to get her mission done.
Kark.
So what you're telling me is that in order to, if we find Z well, we will also probably have to quell the good-intentioned locals as well.
We'll do what we can to get Z out. That's the primary objective. Secondary objective is acquiring and destroying the Bacta facility. Everything else is none of our business. Keep it clean and simple, Ember Squad. Don't get in the weeds on this. These are the hardest missions. We have to go in, get out.
Understood.
in,
right.
get out. I can do that.
Then you're dismissed. Countdown mission timer has begun. I'll see you in the shuttle bay in 3 hours. Suit up, bring anything you need. And if you are looking for acquisition of equipment, talk to me and I'll see if I can help you. And with that, you all finally have a moment to look at each other and glance around as the two COs begin to defer to themselves. Why don't we go ahead and start with describing what is sitting there? Who is there at this mission briefing? And let's go ahead and I would say let's start with you, Quincy.
So you see a middle-aged human man with a short buzz cut and a thin mustache. He's wearing a thick, dark, like brown chore jacket over like a shirt and trousers, and has a heavy-weighted utility belt. He is Lawn Ortha. And on the utility belt, it's heavily weighted with just like a bunch of tools. And as he looks around, he pats below the table, and you see a saucer rise up. And he, which is his multi-tool assistance droid. And he says, "You catch all that, Ello? We've got a mission." Now, you heard them. We got to keep it on the hush-hush.
This little mechanical arm just comes up and just hovers like like a little tool, presses against the ocular lens right in front of the little disc, almost like somebody was bringing their finger up and just going shh. And with that, I would, since we're on droids, Gina, if you would please tell us about this HK series. I'm sorry, I mean medical droid, if you would please.
Yeah. So you see a very, I would say, long-limbed, very rusty, clearly looks like it was re-outfitted a couple of times with other parts. It looks more like a droid that used to be a mountain terrain droid and has been refitted with other 2-1B parts to make it a medical droid. So it has sort of a shell, like a turtle, of parts of 2-1Bs that have been reworked into this mountain terrain droid. And that is why it is MT2. It is slightly different. And it has on its back, clearly the engineer that designed it was trying to project some sort of humanizing features, because it has a permanent affixture of a studded leather jacket over its limbs that make it look like a child that grew out of something but refused to take it off. It's ripping at the seams as it's tried to continue to move. It has a little patch that says Bobby Joe that on the lapel that is clearly not MT's, and it's sort of a rusty green color, and it yeah, and that's what MT looks like.
Okay. Anita.
So Myth is a fairly short bothan with a very nice red jacket. And she's just kind of looking at everything. Her hair is sort of plaited in both sides. It's a darker brown than the rest of the fur. The face is sort of almost fox-like in shape and contour. It has this sort of darker brown on the top that is neatly braided on either side, with the rest sort of flowing down. Like stylishly dressed, just sort of sitting with like a casual, almost blasé attitude. Myth Trutal is another corporal and is is in fact a diplomat or a negotiator, more so than anything. and is just sort of taking in all of this ragtag group as they sort of assemble. It's just like, well, I've got my work cut out for me.
Yeah. All right. And then that, of course, will take us to Private Stucky O'Hara.
Howdy. So you see a pretty short and stout, around his early 20s, black guy with like just the chest plate of an old stormtrooper's armor, which has like a blaster hole in it. And he's also wearing like a very used flight suit underneath it, which also has charred marks literally all over it, and a makeshift set of goggles. They don't look like flight goggles. They look like they might have been used for something else, probably like pod racing. But that he's just kind of tweaked a bit to work for flight. Everything on him is very makeshift, and he wears it with extreme amount of pride.
Okay.
Just kind of looking around at everybody.
Yeah, as you're looking around, the one thing you notice, Stucky, is that the person next to you, they're a kid. They look like they couldn't be pushing 22 tops. And it is a striking reminder of who is giving up what to be a part of the fight. In which case, Sam, if you would please describe.
Elias, if there were Spajoos in Star Wars, would be inundated, absolutely inundated. The desire to feed this scrawny individual would be overwhelming. It's that they haven't grown into either muscles or height, but height appears to be coming. They haven't even hit gangly yet. Is just they're pretty pale, mouse. Looks like they probably had mousy looking hair before they buzzed it. We are the same in this respect. They're wearing an olive green vest that's pretty heavy. That is the most obvious hand-me-down in this or any galaxy. It has, well, if you pronounced the name, it would be the same last name as what we saw on the sign-up sheet, but it's spelled differently. They have some boots that, like, the way they're walking in them also maybe half a size too big, maybe half a size too small. And the sole has been repaired with, like, rubber cement to be reattached. They're very old, very well-worn kind of work boots. They don't really have a whole bunch of equipment on them, but they have boots, and they're very aware of it because that's pretty much what they've been staring at this whole meeting.
It's that sort of mildly awkward moment where you all have a little bit of time to actually look upon one another and be here, realizing that the strangers that you're surrounded with right now are going to be your units. Just as that starts to settle on all of you, it's that awkward moment at a party where you're kind of locked around a bunch of people you've never met before, and someone's going to say something. That's when Corporal Tillo cuts in. And he rolls up to everyone, comes to a stop, and just leans on his chair and looks at everybody and says, "All right, I'm going to keep this very simple for everyone. There'll be time enough to get to know each other on the shuttle ride. And on that note," he turns and looks directly at you, Stucky, and says, "I understand you know how to fly."
Understatement, but yeah.
"Well, I hate to disappoint you, Stucky, but you're going to be flying a shuttle your first time out."
I can make her do what it do.
"Good. Let's go take a look at the bird we've been given. And in the meantime, if you all have any acquisition or requisition requests, please get those into me as soon as possible, and I will do what I can. But keep in mind, our resources are limited. And before you say anything, Elias, I've read your file, and I know you're a crack shot. I'll see what I can do about getting you a rifle. That's what you're going to be asking me for. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Don't worry. I want you to be fully equipped at what you're best at doing. All right. Dismissed, everyone. I'll see you down in the shuttle bay in less than an hour.
Yes, sir.
I think Stucky's gonna like nudge Elias and go, "You get a better shot if you keep your eyes off the foot."
Wouldn't know and never miss.
I like this kid. You any
Boots
good in
and
the You any good in the gunner seat?
Of what?
I will find out. He just starts walking.
I look over to Myth. Of what?
I think they mean of a ship. Have you ever been in the gunner position?
I've been in a ship.
Well, nothing like a trial by fire. Come along. And Myth will stand. Let's see if we can get you something to eat before we set out.
Yes, ma'am. I trot after her obediently.
The private follows the other corporal out of the room. Unless y'all have anything else y'all want to do specifically.
I'm gonna go back and grab whatever tools make sense to take with me. I don't know how much it makes sense to take a whole kit. And I also want to inspect the shuttle, see if it's in decent condition.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell y'all right now. You've got some time to check out the shuttle that you are being assigned. Now, it's not great. It looks like, oh boy, it looks like an old star commuter that has probably been used numerous amount of times to the point where it's surprising that this thing flies based on what you can see of the hull. It will definitely pass as sort of a used civilian transport. But when you look at this, it basically looks like an elongated box with a flight deck window out on the front and a couple of fins in the back, a walkway ramp to go right up into the ship. It looks like it's specifically designed just to transport a couple of crates of cargo and people. Literally, it's a commuter. This thing is going to handle like a big box in space. And just looking at it is not invoking your imagination, O'Hara. This thing looks like a big weighted box.
What the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Is there a gunner seat?
There's no
I don't
gun.
know. I don't know that there's a driver's seat.
Well, if we made Imperials, looks like someone's gonna have to open the back hatch and shoot out a pistol.
All right.
I am much better in melee.
Isn't this our medical droid?
Yes.
I'm more of a lover than a fighter myself, but
That's interesting. Are you going to love our mission?
I think I'll work on loving our medical droid first.
Affirmative.
All right.
Ella.
The droid weirdly steps closer to you. It's not sure what to do. Choop,
Ella,
choop, choop.
take a look around. See if there's any places to hide things in here. It may come up.
Immediately, you just see this little disc hover off of you and go, just flies over to the door, the walkway, and goes into the ship.
Speaking of places to hide things, MT, is it?
Yes.
Do you have any extra cargo tanks in there in case we need to sneak back to out?
Are you asking if I have any empty compartments?
Yeah.
Haha, that was a joke.
Huh.
MT is my name.
I get it. The question, though.
Yes, I have some compartments.
Great. I feel like we might need to use them if we can't find a better way to take that back out of there.
Adding it to my mission log. Have empty compartment for Bacta.
And an empty compartment for whatever else you need.
Ha ha. Would you like anything else?
Hello, anything in there?
This little disc with an ocular lens just kind of pokes around the corners and says, "Did you want me to keep looking?" You hear the rest of you who may not understand droid just hear chirps and beeps and whistles as this little disc. "Did you want me to keep looking? Did you want me to keep looking? Did you want me to keep looking?"
Anything you find in there.
"I found a screwdriver and a hydro spanner. One of them fits in my hand. Would you like to see?"
Sure.
One sec.
MT follows with their hands out like Kitty, like trying to go meet the droid.
Okay.
Wait, come back. Wait.
So Ello comes back around the corner, just struggling to stay airborne as there's hydro spanners just magnetically attached to the bottom of the disc. Just comes back around the corner. You can see the hydro spanner is about a normal sized hydro spanner, but of course, this small little disc droid that's helping you out, this thing is like benching 300 pounds. So it just kind of rounds the corner, just kind of hovering a little bit, and it sees MT approaching. It seizes the opportunity and flies right over to MT and just deposits it in the hand of MT. Just chink, chink.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
The droid sort of and lowers itself to eye level.
Kiss. Yeah.
It is going to be an honor working with you.
I'm not familiar with honor. Is that something I can find on board?
No, it's something inside.
Running diagnostic. No honor detected.
You can do that later.
Understood.
I'll explain. On the ship. Come with me, little one. And I pass the thing that Ello put in my hand into Ortho's hand, and then just turn and start walking into the ship. I am told that it is something similar to bravery as we start walking in.
As you start walking in, Ello pivots back and looks directly at you, Lon, and questions and says, "Is bravery something I have?"
We've yet to see, but I wouldn't doubt it.
I think I know what that is now. And just kind of spins around the corner. I am going to check your acquisition because in order to get resources, in order to actually acquire resources from the rebellion, I have to defer to your duty ratings to find out how much pull the unit has. And that's usually determined now, just so you know, by completing mission objectives and by adhering to the duty that you have written down, you have the opportunity of raising your score. When the party raises its score to 100, your duty resets back to its base level, and you guys basically gain a rank of fame, as it were, within the rebellion of a certain rank. We'll get to that later. I want to get into the weeds, but that essentially there is actually incentive to gaining more and more of your duty rating as you play through and accomplish mission objectives and fight for the rebellion. The more rebellion things you do in helping the alliance, the more that score goes up, and you acquire what's called contribution ratings. To give you an idea, right now your contribution is sitting at 0. So you get access to basic equipment and vehicles that you need for missions. Like the shuttle, for example. But if you said, let's say you had like a contribution rating of 9, you would be on the Empire's most wanted list. 14 is like, that's the dude who put 2 proton torpedoes into the heart of the Death Star. Please kill him. You get the idea. So with that in mind, with a contribution rank of 0 right now, you guys will have access to basic gear and equipment. I'm going to just double check real quick to see if we can't find out if we can get Elias a nice, terrifying, Ravity model sniper rifle. Because I know you want one. And anybody who's asking, I'm referencing, we did a Age of Rebellion one shot ages ago in which Ravity decided to play a little, what was the species? She played that little mouse species.
Oh, Shatterthumb.
Like, yeah.
She's played sharpshooter a few times. We were siblings once, and the build was terrible and beautiful.
Yeah, she sniped an Imperial officer who was sitting behind the blast shield in an ATST, for frick's sake. She scored like an absurd amount of successes and shot the dude through his chest. Outrageous. Okay, so you're looking for standard. I'm going to say, Sam, that you probably wouldn't get anything specialized, but I think a blaster rifle would be counting as standard issue equipment. So I'm going to say, because that is something that most Rebel infantry has. So I'm going to say that if you want, with your yes, I will allow you to take a blaster rifle. The range on that is heavy. The damage is 9, but the thing that you like the most is the range on that puppy is long. With and it does have a stun setting. So yeah, anything basic like that, I would say you guys can acquire. If you need light armor or anything like that, that is something you could also get if you don't already have it. Though I think most of you have been equipped with some of the basic stuff like that, correct? You should have like a blast vest at the very least.
I'm wearing a heavy jacket.
Yeah, that should count for like a soak 1, I believe.
Likewise.
Yeah.
As my leathers as well.
Okay, cool. So y'all have the basic gears then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, unless there's anything else, y'all.
Yeah, this whole time, Stucky's just been in the pilot seat complaining.
Tell you what. I would say, make me a computers check.
Okay,
let's do the first roll of the game.
Oh no!
So yeah,
I'm gonna let you all down. Here we go.
So let's make a computers check, and I'm gonna set the difficulty at a standard 1 or below standard 1. So 1 purple die. Oh,
0 successes, 2 advantages.
You got to add purple die to that. Unfortunately, you got to add 1 purple die to that roll. So it's 1 yellow, 1 green, and 1 purple. No, that's okay. Actually, that counts because you didn't roll anything on that die. So I'll let you keep the ones that you just rolled.
Okay.
All right. So with 2 advantages, Stucky, you're looking at the controls for the shuttle, and you get the impression that this thing was probably used in like the waning days of the Republic. This shuttle has probably seen a lot of action, but the hyperdrive, though it's not the fastest thing, it does have a hyperdrive that is completely outdated and functional. So if worse comes to worse and you get yourselves into a sticky situation, Stucky can get you all out of there quickly, but you're not going to be outrunning anything.
Wouldn't that make it a Stucky situation?
Actually, it would be an unstucky situation.
You're getting unstuck with Stucky, the new show on QueueTimes.
Get really stuck up. Understood.
Well, it's better than riding a Rancor in space, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. Although you suspect, Stucky, that this is going to be like piloting a Rancor in space.
Oh yeah,
I can't stress it enough. This hunk of junk is not meant. If you guys get into any kind of action, this is going to be a problem. They're going to need your skills to get out of it alive for sure.
Oh, okay.
How big is this ship? Like, what is it? Just like a big cargo area, and then the pilot's section, like the cockpit?
Yeah. So if you and the viewers at home would like to see what I'm referencing, the Star Commuter 2000 is what I'm using as a reference. Now, on the wiki, it's in the Star Wars.fandom. It's going to look really pretty. The one y'all have been given is not. This one has, again, it is a older shuttle. So this one has been used quite extensively. It is big enough for 24 passengers, however. Its length is about 15 meters.
It looks like a contractor work van.
It might actually look a little... It looks vaguely like the old school Star Wars
vessel.
Yeah. So yeah, it's sort of a box with a flight deck and some wings on the back. It's meant to get people from A to B. It is literally the most basic ass transport. And in that regard, is perfect for a mission that is trying to not draw attention to itself.
Okay, well, yes.
Since Elo didn't find any hidey holes, though, I would like to figure out how to jury rig one in case we need to hide anything.
Oh, that should be easy enough for you. Why don't we make a mechanics check?
Great.
And I'll set the difficulty of that at 2.
Mechanics plus 2 purples.
Plus 2 purples. That's correct.
Here we go.
And roll them up. One success, 1 advantage. So it's easy enough to pull up one of these deck plates, which you can see has already been worn down pretty bad. As you use one of your tools, you're kind of feeling around at one of the plates at the bottom, moving your hands over that sort of rusted, fatigued metal O'Hara. And Ortha, as soon as your fingers find what feels to be like a groove, Elo immediately goes, "I've got it!" and zips down there and attaches itself magnetically to the thing and starts lifting it up so you can get your fingers underneath it. And the two of you pull up what looks like the small little plating. And you can see an area underneath the deck plating where it looks like luggage might have been used to store luggage a long time ago, when this was probably being used as a commercial passenger shuttle at some point. It has since, judging from the interior, it's been used for all manner of things. You think you may even see like rotted food that's been left in there for years, that's since dried up and has just become crumbly and broken, and it's nasty, but big enough to function as a storage compartment. A little bit bigger than Sam's size. Not quite so. Not quite as foldy and small. But
is it big enough to potentially hide someone if we needed to smuggle them off world, say?
Yes. It would be an uncomfortable fit, but yes.
I mean, if it can fit a suitcase, it can fit a person.
It's true. Yep. If it fits, Sam sits. I'm also going to say too, with one advantage, Lon, you're pretty sure there's probably at least 1 or 2 others like this somewhere on this ship. It's probably been plated over, because again, this is a shuttle that's been reused many a time, but you are sure that you could probably find at least 1 more if you needed to.
I get to work trying to just make them usable, like make sure that we know where they are, have access to, and if possible, like put a little like thin layer above it so it looks like it's just for tools in case anyone does open the first layer. It's like, yeah, there's not a lot of space in here. That's where I keep the extra spanners.
Okay. Easy enough. Is anybody else getting to work doing anything before we depart?
There's one last thing I'd like to check out if I can.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that our registration is up to snuff. The quickest way for a pilot to get pulled over is for our paperwork to be all messed up.
I can assist with that.
Oh, right on. So yeah, I would say make a computers check, and I'll give you a bonus die. So the difficulty for this is going to be 2. So you're going to add 2 purple to the roll and 1 blue on your computers check.
You want to make that roll there, Myth?
Yeah, Myth can do that. I've got a passive talent called supporting evidence, which can also help if in the event that we do actually get pulled over.
Okay.
Oh, handy.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you talk to the cops, and then if that goes south, I just hit the gas. Good to know how this works out. Ember Squad.
Do you want to make that computers check real quick?
I could definitely make that computers check. How many rings of difficulty?
Well, so first of all, if y'all are doing this together, then y'all can combine your stats with each other.
Oh,
okay.
So one of the things, it's basically the best of your stats here. So if it was a computers check, let me just pull up your character sheet here, Myth. So you're just for, so your computers, you actually do. So I'm curious, Noir, what's your computer skill?
My computer skill is 1 proficiency die and 1 ability die.
Okay. In that case, that's going to upgrade your last ability die to 3. So you can actually roll 3 yellows on this if you want, Myth.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
And-
take the assistance.
Okay, so that's going to be the 2 of you coordinating, and go ahead and make those 3. And the difficulty is going to be a standard 2, so just 2 purples, no setback.
Sounds good.
No, okay. What would you like to name the ship? What would you like to name the ship? And and you can absolutely forge a registration here, at least that it would pass easily upon glance.
Perfect. This is. Now I'm on the spot, and I've got to come up with a name for this ship. This is going to be the Tall Tale.
Tall Tale. Is that Tail?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You change the ship registry to the shuttle, the Tall Tale, and you register it. It looks like it is you managed to basically replicate a very baseline, a passable forgery of an Imperial registration. So at first glance, with 2 successes and a triumph, at first glance, they're not going to think anything of you guys. Easy enough.
That should help avoid any Imperial entanglements.
Hey, I could have used you a couple of missions ago.
And that's why I'm here.
Squad might not be so bad after all. That droid gives me the heebie-jeebies, though. Don't say anything.
You get used to it after a little bit, I'm sure. At least I hope so.
The camera pans and MT is just trying to fish a seatbelt through all of their horrifying limbs, and they've just wrapped it around, and they're getting stuck, and they've just given up by tying it down.
I don't want that. I want that as a smash cut.
Elias.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, because you said that I got to get a blaster,
Mhm.
A blaster rifle, right? Not like
That's
a slug
right.
thrower.
That's correct. Did you want a slug thrower? Because they don't have any on this ship.
No. It's not that. It's just that's the only kind of. I've never shot a blaster rifle before.
Oh, okay. Well, as the court.
So I just wanted to know who brought it to me. So because I feel
you actually it's actually like going to a weapons locker / commissary on board the Rock Skipper. You come up to the window where you see an Ithorian quartermaster that is currently entering data on a pad. It's difficult to tell the disposition of Ithorians by default. They tend to have somewhat tricky to read expressions on their faces. This one glances up and both mouths move, and you hear this stereophonic noise comes out. Assuming you speak Ithorian, basically says, "Can I help you, Private?"
Corporal Tillo said that I should ask about a blast rifle.
Tillo.
Is that okay? Sorry.
Is there any reason why it wouldn't be? And you see the eyes narrow for a second.
I don't know, sir.
Well, you should find out, Private. I'll
Yes,
give
sir.
you a second.
They leave the line and go find Tillo.
Come back here, Private.
Stop. Turn around on heel.
A few of the people that are gathered here are kind of looking at each other and watching you as you come back over. The Ithorian says, "Private, however you might be feeling, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. When you're around other people..." No, that's bad. That's bad advice. Never mind.
Don't be around other. Yes, sir.
All right. Hold on 1 second. Your corporal spoke to me earlier and said I should be expecting you. Wasn't expecting the water boy to show up. Turns around, moves over to the weapons rack. A few seconds later, comes back and sets down what looks like a rather large rifle that you now when you say slug throwers, what kind of guns what kind of guns is Elias used to shooting?
Well, I think a varmint rifle is probably like the most evocative way of saying what they shot.
Okay.
It's a real long boy in the illustrations. But they have a blaster pistol that they're clearly very proud of. But yeah, they've this is fancy. These are 900 credits in the books, you know.
The Ithorian slides a power pack into the rifle and attaches what looks like a strap across it, and then sets down the standard issue scope that slides onto the top, and he just goes and sets it down in front of you and says, "This," and this is, of course, again, as a reminder, is all coming out as, but the Ithorian says, "This is the A280 assault rifle. This is a standard issue rifle that's used here in the rebellion. You take good care of this weapon, you can save lives with this weapon. That's what it's for. Never forget that, Private."
Yes, sir.
All right. Good hunting. Stay safe.
Oh, so they just pick it up, they just hold it. It's there isn't actually a golden glow emanating from it.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they look at it, it might as well be. But when they grab the strap and swing it over their shoulder, it's clearly a very practiced, very comfortable movement. They have no lack of experience with firearm, but this is the specialist. This is
one of the things that you notice, Elias, is when you slide the power pack into the rifle itself, the power pack has a significant amount of more weight to it than the slug thrower stuff you're used to using. But as it clicks in, you see a full charge on it. Zzz. Ammo's not something you necessarily got to worry about unless you roll despairs. And then I get to have my way with your gun, said the GM.
Sir.
All right. If there's nothing else, then you get your blaster rifle. Everyone else reports to the hangar. About 2.5 hours pass. And when you all manage to make your way down to the hangar, you can see Corporal Marotillo's down there. He is in full battle dress. Looks like he's got like his heavy clothes on and whatnot, but you can see him remove some of his insignia and rank and just leave it on the deck. Just kind of drops it unceremoniously to the side and hefts himself up. He starts to clip in. You see him slide a holdout blaster into his chair. It slides into a slot that immediately goes and just slides right into the chair itself, just disappearing within the tech. And he just swivels it back and forth, checking the wheels. You guys can hear minor like machination sound, like there's some kind of power motor that can activate when he needs it. You can hear it just gearing up and checks it. You see him test it one more time. The chair's wheels kind of angle inward and it just hovers up for a second and then touches back down. He runs a quick diagnostic and then turns and looks at everybody and says, "All right, no more screwing around. Are we all ready to go?"
No, but we're gonna go anyway.
Damn right. Ember squad, mount up. And with that, he goes up the ramp onto the shuttle. As this is happening, all of y'all can see that as you are entering up onto the shuttle, Commander Jensen Vem walks onto the deck to see you all away. The Duros rebel officer comes to a stop about 4 meters away from the ramp, just folds his hands behind his back and just nods to all of you. Tillo just says, "Don't let that scare you. He does that for everyone. He's not saying goodbye or anything." That's what I thought the first time he did it. He says with a like fond chuckle.
Time to go be Ember Squad. And he just walks into the shuttle.
All right. One by one, you all enter up onto the ramp of the shuttle.
I guess MT was already on the shuttle because I'm strapped in.
Yeah, M2's been working on these straps for like the past hour.
And so I'm already strapped in and I'm all good to go. But when you all walk onto the shuttle and you see that MT is strapped in very, very strangely, they sort of look up to commotion and they have opened a handful of like sections on their person. And it's like doors and things flapped open like glove compartments on themselves. And some trash has been like thrown about as they've been looking for the right empty compartment to fit it back up. And then when they see a higher ranking officer, they very quickly just like smack them all closed so they look more presentable.
You scare the absolute piss out of Stucky.
You're like, at one point, this droid is probably going to have to stitch something up.
Affirmative.
Just leave me to die.
If it's not fixed at the stim pack, just let them have me. It's fine.
As I walk past MT, I look and go, those kind of knots are really hard to undo, just so you know. And I just keep walking.
I look down at myself and then I just go to like, I guess I say to myself, do not worry, I have knives. That's all. You just hear it as you walk by.
Don't love that.
Elo immediately appears in front of you, MT, and just goes, I have a spark cutter too if you need one.
That would be most helpful. Would you like me to strap you in as well?
That's all right. I rest on my friend over here.
Oh.
He says I can call him my friend. He's my master, but friend.
Friend.
There are no masters here, only co-workers.
He doesn't like it when I say the word master very much. He's trying to deprogram me from old droid speak. I appreciate it.
Yes. Friend, co-worker. May I call you my I do not know. That is what they just said.
Oh.
Co-workers. Will you be my co-worker?
Okay.
Okay. I will be yours as well. Shall we take off, fellow co-workers?
And with that, Elo just hovers over, and you just see Elo moves over to Ortha and just settles. Legs come in and goes into standby mode.
Is there a co-pilot seat
There is. There are two.
All right. Myth is going to take up a position in one of the co-pilot seats, probably the one that has the comm relay next to it.
Okay. Easy enough. That's the co-pilot seat located directly to the right of the pilot. So, Stucky, you see them slide into the seat. The Bothan just gets comfortable, clips in.
Do you mind if I put my feet up on the console?
Not a problem. They're just rituals, so just don't say anything. And you just see Stucky like taking his hand, kissing his fingers, and like kissing different parts of the cockpit, and then he just kind of mumbles like a little nursery rhyme under his breath.
Elias hovers near
There's a third chair.
the cockpit. Like, yeah, they saw that it was there. But this is
Take a seat.
They said,
if you want to, of course. I wouldn't want to impose upon you.
strap.
We're going to work on your confidence.
Yes, ma'am.
Stucky, you flip some switches. The shuttle begins to. You can all feel the power shuddering the entire shuttlecraft as it begins to switch on, as the engines come to life and the repulsors activate. Immediately, the ramp just goes, retracts. The door comes sliding down. Tillo straps himself in, sets the chair aside. You see the chair that he was in just goes, folds up. He sits down and he gets into a seat, straps in, checks his blaster rifle, checks his power packs, sets the blaster rifle down on the seat and pulls out a heavy blaster, slides that into a holster onto his side. And then he just kind of settles back, closes his eyes.
All right.
All right. So, Stucky, do me a favor. Would you?
Yep.
Make me a piloting check, if you would, please. This would be not planetary, obviously.
Nope.
But if you could, please. And the standard difficulty of this, since it's just a basic takeoff and you even got a little bit of a power assist, I'm going to say difficulty is 1. This is pretty easy for you.
Okay, let me remove some.
So piloting space.
Here. Piloting space.
So 1 purple. Oh, you know what, though? Before you roll, take a setback die. 1 black die, if you would, please.
Okay, so a purple and a black die.
Yep, because the tall tail is a piece of junk. She is old, and she has not flown for a long time.
All right, there we go.
What is the... I've never seen the X on that, but have you seen that before, Sam? The X on the die? I've never seen that before.
It means gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. All right. 1 success, 2 advantages. Easy enough. With 2 advantages, you can actually give 2 boost die out to the party members if you want, but they only last a scene. So just keep in mind that when you roll advantages on dice, for 1 scene, you can pass. If you roll 2 advantages, you can give yourself a boost die for your next roll, or you can give out a 1 blue die advantage per 1 that you roll to your friends.
Okay.
So
I'll hand those off too. I have 2 of them to hand out. So
you have, if you want to hand out 2 of them to others, you can, or you can spend those 2 advantages and hand 1 out to yourself.
I'm gonna hand them out both out to the team. I'm feeling good for myself right now. Stucky is terrified of droids, so I'm gonna give it to my 2 droid handling buddies. MT and Ortha. That's for you. That's for your droid buddy too. I'm gonna hand those out. And he's gonna finish his little nursery ride. Just time to meet my thrusters, and then boom, just go.
Yeah, you see the that sort of the deck of the ship below you begin to. You can feel the ship enter its repulsor as it begins to push off from the hangar deck, and y'all gain a little bit of altitude as the ship begins to swivel around. You can see the Stone Skipper is a Nebulan B escort frigate. There are 2 fighter squadrons assigned to this ship for a total of 24 fighters that are able to be stored here on front and aft. Right now, y'all can see a couple of Y-wings and X-wings on the deck of the ship itself. It's pretty exciting to see the fighters. You can see some of the squadron members all out currently doing maintenance, as long as with work crew and stuff like that. Y'all pivot around and you can see a few of the rebels here on the ship waving you all off and wishing you luck, as one of the deckhands is kind of ushering you out, moving you closer and closer towards the exit. But you can see that big hangar entrance. After a few moments, I'm just curious, if you would please, what is Elias's reaction as all of a sudden the glowing borders of the hangar fly past the windows of the flight deck and you enter into space?
Hey, I've flown. I told Myth I've flown before. It's just a very quiet. And just like they clamp their mouths shut, like.
Okay.
They're still they're still dinner plates.
You can express yourself, you know.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow, that's right.
To be quite honest, I'm jealous of you guys. I never get to experience the first time seeing me fly.
What do you mean?
I mean, you get to see me fly for the first time. I've always watched me fly, so I mean, it's pretty magical, right? I'm even making this piece of crap fly like an X-wing.
It's truly a sight to behold. I cannot express to you Myth totally puts their feet up on the dash.
Okay.
Elias sincerely would love to know what's making the piloting so impressive. They would love to know. What makes you fly this way? Just they don't.
Sarcasm
What
is.
am I missing?
I yell back forward to the cockpit because I'm sitting probably near just where things are working. Well, don't forget to lock your S-foils before you get going.
Don't tell me about the S-foils. I'll tell you about the S-foils.
Oh, well, there's no S-foils on.
He's looking all over the consoles for S-foils.
You're like, this thing has S-foils? I didn't see any S-foils on this thing. So I'm going to have you make an astrogation check now. If you
Yes, I knew I should have taken that. Yes, I did.
Did you not?
I
Stucky
did.
have any astrogation? You did? Yeah,
Yes.
you took astrogation. All right. So let's see. You actually have plenty of time. You're not in any rush right now. So making the astrogation check, you can actually take your time doing this. The difficulty of this, let's see. Are you on? Yes, this is known Imperial ship, but you're coming from the outer rim. So this is going to be, I'm going to set this as difficulty 2. It's going to take about 5 rounds to calculate. So difficulty 2.
Okay, so that's 2 purples, right?
2 purples.
Gotcha. Yeet! Oh.
Okay. Okay.
That's not great.
Excellent. Well, you rolled 2 advantages though. So there's that. There's that. You punch in a couple of coordinates, and Stucky, as soon as you enter into the coordinates and register them, it takes you a good 5 rounds as you're punching in the astrogation information. As this is happening, you guys are having your banter back and forth, and right as you begin to push the throttle up into hyperspace, Stucky, you at the exact same time, Myth, see an error in the astrogation computer as it asks you to re-enter the data just as you push it to light speed, and it goes, and you guys jump.
Well, that's not good or promising.
I mean, it's not the worst thing. I mean, who here hasn't gone to hyperspace without actually having the navigation to know where you're jumping out of?
I have been on many ships that have never made that sound. Do you require assistance?
Please, God, no.
I am not God. I am MT.
It's terrifying to hear you say that word. No, we're fine.
What?
We're fine.
MT or God?
Oh, God. Okay. We're going to be all right.
Are you having distress? Your heart rate is elevated.
Let
me come up there.
Please don't.
I start to undo my belts very slowly.
You get
one moment. I will be there to assist.
You start slowly undoing each and every belt, and immediately coming out of standby mode, Ella goes, "I'm on my way," and
they're working together.
The droid comes over, and you see this little sparks begin to fly as Ella begins to cut the belts free of your chassis. Just one belt snaps.
Thank you. And then doof, 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 as I come into the cockpit. Let me check your vitals. As
my vitals are great. Listen, there's not enough space in the cockpit for
the perspiration on your forehead is alarming.
I'm just gonna start pounding on the astrogation panel.
This is absolutely like the Ember Squad version of Fezzik just antagonizing Vicini right now as the ship pulls away from the shore. No more rhymes now, I mean it.
Anybody want a peanut?
While I'm checking vitals, I want to identify the cause of stress, and since they're hitting the astrogation button, I would like to assist with astrogation to calm the vitals.
How would you assist? Like, are you just trying to get him to stop pressing the button, maybe, to get rid of the nervous tick of? Like...
Well, I'm diagnosing that astrogation seems to be the cause of the distress. Mm-hmm. So I would like to fix the astrogation.
Well, so the way you could do that is you could, first of all, you could attempt to diagnose the issue with the jump, or you could, without the pilot's permission, attempt to force a shutdown of the hyperdrive, bringing you all out of hyperspace, which
That doesn't
could
seem
be
logical, but
yeah, because y'all have already jumped. So
Yeah.
you're going from A to B, so there's no turning around or adjusting course unless you leave hyperspace.
I guess
So-
I'll address the issue from the bad noise that made our pilot stressed.
So, okay, so here's what I'm going to have you do. Go
Okay.
ahead. This is great. This is like rolling for sarcasm. I'm going to have you make do you have it? Oh my God.
I do. That's why I can do this.
I
Dina DeVivo. Okay, so
Yeah.
Sam warned me that they helped you make this character.
no, I
All
said
right, so-
someone would. I helped someone, and you'd know when you saw it.
So go ahead and roll your 5 ability dice.
You don't gotta tell nobody my
We're
business.
gonna see this roll. So go ahead. And the difficulty is 2. So add those.
And what
astrogation.
astrogation
So
or
just
computers?
Add two purple
Okay.
dice to the roll.
Oh, and
Okay.
2 blue
And
from,
it's just like-
from Stucky. You're helping, Stucky.
one
I'm
blue.
sure you're so happy.
1 blue. You got 1 blue dice from stuff.
Okay. Okay.
4 successes and a threat. So here's what I'm gonna say. So first of all, with 4 successes, there was clearly a malfunction at the computer. Stucky didn't do anything wrong. Looks like the astrogate looks like the computer itself probably suffered a very minor malfunction and is going to be off by a little bit. What I can tell you with 4 successes after analyzing the data, y'all are going to arrive at your destination. Unfortunately, this time-sensitive mission needs you to arrive on time. You guys are going to be arriving a few hours behind schedule when you get there because of this. You have a 48-hour window. It is now a 42-hour window for this time-sensitive mission because of the unfortunate mishap
Okay.
at astrogation. Now, with that one point of I'm going to say now correct me if I'm wrong, but droids can still accumulate stress from disadvantage rolls. So what I'm going to say is gain 1 point of strain to your character because you are experiencing I'll let you tell me if MT2 actually has like an emotional output to the distress of possible patients or patients in stress. But there is a deep concern welling up inside of MT2 about the well-being of the pilot. Obviously, the pilot needs to be doing the be at their top health if this mission is to succeed. So there's a little bit, we're going to say that 1 point of strain translates to a deep concern about the well-being of Stucky, who seems to be quite even more distressed as you have attempted to uncover the nature of the error.
Calm down. Calm
Please.
down.
Please.
Calm down.
Please,
As
please.
I've like opened a part and I've like plugged into the keyboard or the dashboard as well to do all this diagnostic. And I can do not worry. I am not doing this alone. We are
Okay,
doing this together.
No, okay.
And then I take your hand in my hand and we
God,
press the
touch me.
buttons together. We are doing this together as co-workers. And then as soon as I relay that we are going to be a little late, I say, there is no need to worry. They're there. And I pat your shoulder. And as I do, I open one of the compartments that I had closed and I pull out a lollipop and I hand it to you in your face. Diagnostic complete. How would you rate your visit?
I'm afraid of droids. Okay, I'm afraid of droids. So please, just go in the back, please. I'm just
Afraid?
yes. You terrify me. You terrify me. The little one, the whistling one, it terrifies me. I need no droids in the cockpit, please. I can fly this thing. I can get us there in time. I can get us there on time. I promise.
You cannot. We are going to be late. regardless of your skills.
You don't know how good I am.
Affirmative. Prove me wrong.
Okay, just please go in the back.
If this will calm your heart rate, I will do as you ask.
Okay, thank you. It's
I turn to Ellis. Would you like the lollipop?
Yes, ma'am.
It extends its hand to you, and there's some lint on it, but it's not open. It's just like it's clearly been
What
in
color
the
is it?
It is green apple flavored.
Oh my gosh.
I just want to know what color Elias's tongue is about to be.
Yeah.
important character description information.
MT goes back to sit down and then just takes the parts that have already been cut that were holding her in, and she just clasps both sides and like locks up because they can't connect anymore because they've been cut, and then just says, "Noted. Must make Ortho less afraid of doctors." And then
I go, what was that?
the face kind of tries to contort into like they like you could see like functions as they're trying to look less menacing, but they can't because they don't really have a face. But like where their face is, it's kind of like like they try to make the section that's their furrowed brow like a little more, and then that's it.
And that is a perfect button as you guys continue traveling through hyperspace for us to go on our 10-minute break. So let's take 10 minutes and go hydrate. And when we come back, y'all, we're going to be arriving planet side. Get a calculation of how much window of a time you guys have to complete the mission and what the status is of everything when you're headed down. Go get some rest and get ready for when we come back. See you all in a minute. Back to the mission, everybody. We are getting ready to arrive planet side. So let's pick up where we left off as the tall tale is about to exit hyperspace. Now, to give you guys a sense of where we are at, you got down to 42 hours because of a miscalculation on, well, it wasn't a miscalculation, it was computer error on the hyperdrive. So that plus, let's see, 42, 30. So 39 hours left of mission time when you all arrive. So let me go ahead and just, yeah, what's up?
I want to see some, I'm not sure if this will work, but it doesn't hurt to ask. I have an ability called Shortcut.
Shortcut?
Yeah. And I'm trying to find it here. It says, I don't think we're in a chase, so it might not work. But it says when we're in
a chase. Is it a talent?
Yes. Yes, it is. Here, I'm so sorry. I love it. I have it right here. It's on page. It's on page 142 or 155 of our book. So 1 second, 155. But essentially, it says I can. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's
during a chase, the character adds a bonus die per rank of shortcut to check me to catch or escape an opponent.
Okay, so that, yeah, you wouldn't have to worry about that here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Looking at this too. 15. Cool. Okay. So yeah. In which case, we're gonna go ahead and cut right to it then. You guys are gonna be jumping out of hyperspace at Seti Okaram. Seti Okaram system, as you see the glowing blue tunnel of hyperspace just flash in front of you, and all the stars just go from an elongated stretch down to single pinpricks of light in a curtain of night right in front of you, just and you see before you a planetary system stretched outwards and an ETA of arrival of about 20 minutes. You also detect immediately as you're coming out of hyperspace, You detect there's a lot of traffic coming in and out of the system. It looks like this might be functioning as some kind of commercial hub of some kind, like you were expecting it to be. But you do see that there are plenty of starships coming and going out of the system. The one thing that you definitely notice is that a lot of these ships seem like commercial craft. If you would like to run a sensor sweep, you may. Otherwise, on passive sensors, you're just detecting a lot of ship activity out there in the system.
Would sensors be a computer check?
It would be, yes. And you would actually, oh no, you wouldn't, because this is a junker. Never mind. So yes, here's the thing though. You actually have to tell me, oh, actually, no, that's not really something you would have to worry about right now, because you literally just entered the system. So a forward arc long range sensor scan, you can make a computer's check. Okay. And the difficulty of this is going to be a standard 2.
Sounds good.
Let's see what you get. 2 advantages.
2 advantages.
Okay, so it's already frustrating because, Myth, as you sit down at the computer and begin to press in commands and run a sweep, what you discover is there's so much traffic. It's not that a lot of people are coming and going out of the system, but it looks like that this planet, Okaram, actually has what looks like an orbital facility of some kind that's also attracting a lot of traffic coming and going. Your guess is whatever this orbital facility is that it is being used as some kind of commercial hub or something along those lines, because there's so many civilian ships coming and going out of that. But aside from that, you can't get a good read specifically on who is flying in and out of the system. There could be Imperials out there and you wouldn't. Oh, yes. You have a reroll?
I have technical aptitude. For each rank, I would reduce... Oh, sorry, that's the amount of time needed. But I also have Codebreaker. I'm not sure if that would help to maybe decrypt some of this chatter.
Yeah, I mean, it is a computer's check. Codebreaker lets you spend strain to reduce the difficulty. Is that right?
It means that I would remove, I believe, one difficulty per rank of Codebreaker. It just says 1 square.
I think do you get that automatically, or do you have to take strain for it? Am I thinking of something else?
No, it is just a passive ability in my talents.
And it's for any computer's check?
Yes, it says the character removes 1 per rank of Codebreaker from their attempts to break code or decrypt communications. In addition, the character decreases the difficulty of the computers or intellect checks made to break codes or decrypt communications by 1.
Okay.
So I would, yeah.
But I tell you what,
go for it.
I tell you what, I don't want to have you re-roll, but I'll tell you what, I'll let you roll me a boost die.
Okay.
And we'll see. Instead of calling for a full re-roll. Okay.
Nothing.
So yeah, there's just too much traffic and it's hard. It's not you. It's definitely not you, Myth. It's definitely the outdated sensor suite on this shuttlecraft. Here's also further to sort of compromise, because it's a good ability that you should be able to use. What I'll do is when you get closer to the planet, I'll let you try again. You can do a retry.
Bless you,
be aware though, and just so you all know, when you specifically sweep out to the sensors, you basically broadcast yourself as well. Not that that's necessarily something you have to worry about right now, and it may not be unusual to do a sensor sweep to find out who's out there. So, but yeah, you guys see the planet up ahead. The planet itself, from this distance, as you're closing in on it, looks vaguely reddish orange, almost Mars-like in the atmosphere. It's a terrestrial world, definitely, and what you get is that this world, Okaram, is like a scrubland. Not huge, not so many big bodies of water. No great oceans. Just a lot of like scrubland, and perhaps from what you can tell from the data inputs on the computer, a lot of the water located on this planet for life is actually located underground. Hence, more of the scrub sort of landscapes that you see out there. A lot of mountainous terrain, a lot of flat land, a lot of like dried riverbed style kind of what you're looking for. But you do see on the map, it's easy enough to locate as you're closing in on the planet itself, Okaram City, which is the largest settlement on the planet itself. Population is about 2 million. And judging from the looks of it, is very much technology levels are sort of somewhere, and it's not quite caught up to like the standard modernized imperial cities per se. It's most like a post Clone Wars technology level, where it's not quite as polished, but it definitely is able to really support itself and has a bustling commercial center. As you guys get closer and closer, Tillo wheels up to the flight deck and just kind of leans onto the doorway and looks out through the flight window and says, "Have you tried running a sensor sweep yet?"
I did. There's too much chatter out there, but I can try it again.
No, wait till we get closer.
All right.
Oh, there's going to be Empire here. I know it. They're out there right now. You guys close in on the station. Go ahead and make me another check. And the difficulty this time will be 1. Oh, but you know what? I'm going to spend a dark side point. So the difficulty of 1 is going to become a red die.
Okay. Let's.
Should we counter that with a?
You can. If you want to spend a light side point, you certainly can.
Let's do it.
I would like to spend my light side point.
Okay. So flip that back to the dark side, and you're going to raise one of those green die. You're going to boost it to a proficiency die.
Okay. And still the single difficulty die, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Single challenge die.
Oh, challenge die.
So
Gotcha.
It's a red one because I called on the dark side.
Okay.
Dark side.
Roll
You call?
dice. No successes, 5 advantages. My
5
goodness.
advantages, though.
I cannot roll a success, though, to save my life.
But the good news is 5 advantages is huge. And what you will discover playing, anybody watching, what y'all will discover playing this game is success and failure is a big deal, but the lifeblood of the game lives in the advantage and threat rolls. So with 5 advantages, let's see. I'm going to say you're not going to be able to pinpoint exactly who is out there or what because of how much you're seeing moving about this planet. However, you can, if you want, use some of those advantage points to distribute boost die to everybody else. And because you rolled 5, I'm just going to house rule it. I'll let you all hold on to those boost dice for the remainder of the game as opposed to having them cycle out per scene. So, but in this case, the one thing I will tell you is you are, for a brief second, you did detect what seemed like an Imperial transponder out there. There is an Imperial vessel in system, but you weren't able to ID it. The sensors on this tub are just not up to par. However, the one thing I will say in closing is that if it was like a major Imperial capital ship, at the very least, you'd be able to eyeball that pretty easily. And you don't see one.
It looks, it might be a smaller Imperial vessel out there. I can't pinpoint which it is. We're going to have to get along to look at these sensors.
Listen, if things go right, this will be the last time this ship has ever flown. We'll upgrade to something nicer, you know? Maybe they'll give us something with an actual engine.
What, you don't like her?
Oh, no.
Nice to your ship.
Oh, no. I mean, listen, it's me doing a lot of the work here. I could fly a block of cheese, but for the most part, I'm thinking we do well on this. They give us something nice.
Miss Fur kind of bristles a little bit. I'd like to see you try to fly a block of cheese.
I can do it.
And then let's see if we can find a place to put down and I guess go for the next stage of this.
Gio, can I see if I could eyeball a Imperial vessel? Like if I could just, I mean, I'm imagining that I am fond of ships, so if I could just kind of eyeball it without the scanner.
You know, you might be able to. I would probably pit you up against a pretty tricky perception check. I'm
willing to go for it. Why not?
Okay, so in that case, I'm gonna set the difficult. I'm gonna say this is a. Well, actually, you know, I might make you instead of making perception. I might actually make this. I might not make it. I might make it a piloting check.
Ooh.
Because this is kind of what you do, and I am pulling a little bit from my experience playing Star Trek, I should say. So I'm going to say, why don't you do this? Why don't you make me a piloting check with a difficulty of 3, and I'm going to throw in a setback die.
All right. So I was ready for this one. I have
3 purple dice and 1 black die.
I have a ability called Skill Jockey that says the character removes 1 setback die per rank of Skill Jockey from his piloting planetary and piloting space jets.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So then no setback die.
Alrighty. And I would like to use. Can I use a light side dice, y'all?
If you want to.
You want to be a dope pilot. Could be a dope pilot.
So then upgrade one of your greens to a yellow. Make me that
Alrighty.
roll with 3 purple dice. Don't forget.
I've got my 3 purple, and I'm going to use that boost that Myth gave me.
Okay, cool.
All right, here we go, y'all. Come on. You have got the flirting, be kidding me.
Ember squad is just not having. just not interested. Just not interested.
Oh, what advantage.
Yeah, just not interested. Yeah. Okay. So you lean outside the window and give a good ocular scan of all the little metal dots you see flying in and out of your field of vision. You can see, again, a lot of this activity. It's not like Coruscant bad. It's not like huge throngs of traffic constantly entering and exiting the atmosphere. But with all the commercial craft that is moving through here, I'm going to give you this with one advantage. What you get from what you see, you don't see anything Imperial, which kind of gives you the feeling that like either they're in the middle of operations and they're not trying to make themselves known, or they're just not on this side of the planet right now.
Well, good news. Either they're keeping it low key or they're not anywhere near here. So at least we get a head start if we frack this up. Just gonna start lower and get down.
I say to Elias, maybe you won't get a shooting Imperial this time.
Well, I guess we'll see. They fidget with something that a hand just sort of jerks toward their blaster pistol for fidget. They stop and start fidgeting with their vest, with just anything else. But the fidgeting has begun. The fidgetation. It is the hour.
I need to see this kid shoot something.
Well, you see enough of the data display in front of you telling you exactly where the selected LZ is. Now, this LZ was charted specifically because supposedly Z-Prello will know exactly where to find this LZ. This is also, again, the extraction point. So the orders are to settle down here.
Right.
What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say he's putting it down nice and gentle.
Okay, cool. So you settle down a few kilometers outside the city. Now, when I describe it as scrubland, that's pretty accurate. It looks like sort of a dusty red planet with shrubs and scrubs everywhere. You can see the trees here don't grow very large. They're probably about 6 to 8 feet tall in most places. They basically look like giant bonsai trees that are just breaking out of the mud and have grown up into these beautiful twisting branched and arced tops of the greenery that spreads out. It gives this place an odd splash of vibrant emerald color against this rusty reddish glow. The planet is unusually dark too when y'all settle here. The star of this system is actually a red dwarf, and it casts this sort of hellish glow when the sun is up, giving this entire surface of the planet sort of an insidious feel, despite the fact that when you came in, you could see that Okarum City looks like it's actually quite bustly, has plenty of skyscrapers and technological advances to show a fully functional city with lots of color. And from what you can tell, the locals seem to be galvanizing the atmosphere's natural reddish tint to inform their color choices with some of the holograms that they have just splashed all over the building walls, advertising drinks and all of that, and entertainment facilities. It does not look like a city that is currently under the oppression of the Empire. That being said, you do see what looks like checkpoints on some of the major entrances into the cities along the roadways. Settling down outside the city, you all, the ramp comes down off the ship and the doors open up. The corporal immediately turns to all of you and says, all right, everybody, disembark. Let's get this done. We have 39 hours. 39 hours to find our agent, to find out what's going on with the Bacta. Take as much as we can if we have to. Find out where it is. Get back to the ship. Get back to the Alliance.
Yes, sir.
All right. Just gotta look at the flight controls and point at them. Don't you go anywhere, Brick.
When you turn around, MT is there. You got here on the scheduled time that I suggested, but I am still happy you flew your best. And then like weird thumbs up.
It's worse when you try to be nice. It's just gonna like squeeze past you and power walk away.
I power walk behind you.
Please, somebody do something about this.
Anita's like, I'm out. All right. You all disembark from the Tall Tale. The ramp, doors close up behind you all. And immediately checking the data pad, Tillo sets a course. You guys really don't even know where to start looking. The problem is that this agent was supposed to meet you all here. Tillo glances around and says, she might be within the vicinity, but we'll need a way to signal her. If she's following standard practice, she'll be laying low. Maybe we should fan out, see if we can find any sign of her. Stay within comms range and be careful.
You want us to split up?
That's what I said.
Okay.
No
No, that's fine. Elias? I'll take Elias. I'm going with Elias.
MT, want to go check out toward the city with me?
I stare just a little bit too long at Stucky O'Hare. And if a droid could present stress, they would, but she finally just turns back to Ortho and says, affirmative. I will go with you. Stay safe. And I say it again directly at Stucky.
Nice. Ortha, Tillo turns to you and says, if you're headed towards the city, don't go inside yet. Just look for evidence of where she might be. She's not going to be inside the city. She'll be in the vicinity of our landing zone. So if you see her in the outskirts of the city, just signal us.
I nod and I go, hear that, Elo? Stay out of the city.
No city. With that.
Do you want to come with us, ma'am?
Sure. Seems a good place as any.
All right. I think we're gonna maybe sweep around back, if that sounds
Tillo nods,
good to...
says, all right, I'm going to do an immediate sweep of the area and stay on comms. I'll let you know if I find anything.
Yep.
Sir.
Good luck. Good hunting. And with that, Tillo just... You see him activate what looks like these power wheels on the back, just comes sliding down, and you see immediately the chair activates and he shoves off and just moves off into the dust. A lot of you split. So who would like to go first on their search for this agent? We've got two groups. I'm thinking let's do MT and Ortha. So Y'all are moving around. Y'all are actually headed closer to the city limits. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, first of all,
Is Elo
there's-
with us, or did
Yeah.
you send Elo? Okay, great.
Elo's with y'all, yeah.
Yeah.
What y'all would notice first as y'all are approaching the city limits is there's actually a lot of foot traffic, a lot of people coming and going. And for a city that looks highly modernized, it looks like there's a lot of folks that use animal travel essentially to get to and from outside the city limits. You see a lot of very large native species here that basically look like giant lizard cows that people are riding with huge like cargo saddles that are just on the back of them. People like leading these giant sort of bloated lizard creatures that almost look like frogs that have these huge extended limbs that are just kind of waddling along. And the frog just kind of every now and then makes this terrible croaking sound, but is friendly enough as you guys are walking by and see the locals. None of the animals react in any sort of particular way as you are all moving past them. But outside the city itself, again, it seems pretty rural and quite prosperous. You wouldn't know that this place was currently living under the shadow of the oncoming empire. But it does occur to the two of you, and it is probably in the back of everyone's mind right now, that somewhere on this planet there is an imperial presence. Why don't I have the two of you make me a perception check as you are all traveling?
Okay.
And I'm going to set the difficulty of this at... I'll set the difficulty at 3. Give me a hard.
What planet are we on?
So this is Okarim. Yes.
Is this like a core world, or is this
It's a
on the
mid-rim
outer
world.
rim?
Yeah.
Mid-rim.
It is part of the Galactic Empire.
Okay.
And these are separate rolls, right?
What's that?
These are
Yeah. You guys will roll individually against a difficulty of 3.
Here we go.
I will boost it.
Okay, boost it.
Which is just adding 1 green.
1 blue. Boost die is a blue die. Yeah.
1 blue. Apologies, because I don't have very good perception.
Hey, but you got an advantage.
Nothing.
I did a little worse.
Ortha and MT2, the two of you spend a goodly amount of time just kind of traveling among the people that are coming and going throughout the town. You're hearing some of the conversations, but you see no sign of any Rhodians around here. About enough time passes where Elo finally pipes up and you hear this sort of impatient whistling behind you.
I do not see anything. Do you, Elo?
I see the back of Ortha's head.
I see the side of Ortha's head.
I
Ortha.
can't see my head at all. Look, I don't think we're making any progress here.
No. Do you think I am making progress at coworkers?
At coworkers?
Yes. Elo says that we are coworkers.
That we are. I know the rebels like to use the military kind of organization structure, and I get it. It helps them understand things. But between you and me, all of us, we're all working for the same cause, and that same cause is the cause of the workers. You understand?
Yes. I want to ask your advice. What do you
shoot.
suggest about coworkers that fear each other?
You know, sometimes people do come from backgrounds where they're not used to working with all sorts of types. The way I see it, over time, people realize that you and me, we have different backgrounds, but we work to the same
Affirmative.
cause. That cause is overthrowing the yoke and chain of our masters so that they are no longer our masters.
I thought you did not like the word masters.
That's because they need to be overthrown, whether it's a dirty boss or the fascist boot of the empire. And sooner or later, your fellow worker will understand that overthrowing them and taking off those chains is more important than any fear of someone different.
Yes. I think coworker is just shy.
He'll warm up to you. I think just give him some space. Let him warm up to you on his own terms. You know what I
I
mean?
cannot give him space in case he requires medical assistance. I must be near.
You know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I see no bridge. And scans horizon.
We got to work on your banter.
I was not programmed for banter.
You know, neither was I.
Hmm.
Few years working with all sorts of types. You get better at it.
I have learned the concept of puns.
Yeah, that's
I like puns.
you know, that's really a hit or miss with a lot of people, just so you know.
Maybe that is why coworker fears me.
Did you use
Too
a
many.
pun on him?
It is possible. I joke a lot. Ha ha.
You know, humor's a great way to connect with people, though. So, you know what? Keep working on that. Maybe you'll warm up to
Okay.
that.
Share more humor with coworkers.
Your conversation finds an abrupt stopping point as the two of you, moving amongst the people coming and going throughout the city, spot the boys in white. The thing that you spot first are the glint of that red sun catching the surface of their armor. And after you pause to see exactly what you're looking at, to count what you're seeing, you spot what looks like a unit of about 6 stormtroopers at a checkpoint about 100 meters ahead of y'all. Most of them look like they're kind of being idle and watching people as they go by, but occasionally one of them will step out and talk to a citizen who immediately stops and presents them something. The stormtrooper checks it, gives it back to them, and ushers them along.
Did you see what they showed them?
Looked like some kind of data pad to both of you.
Do you have a data pad?
I do not. I mean, we're not doing anything wrong, and honestly, I'm unarmed right now. Are you unarmed right now?
No.
No as in you don't have weapons, or no as in you are indeed armed?
Affirmative.
A very worried Ello buzzes up around your head, moves over to you, and just starts chirping. It's like, was I supposed to be unarmed too? I have a shock stick.
They're not going to check for that, Ello.
Okay.
I
was
have
worried.
a knife.
You're a medical droid. Your knife is like 3 centimeters. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I am a weapon. Do I count?
Okay, don't tell them that.
I will not. Affirmative.
All right, let's. I'm trying to see if anyone else is around where I can just kind of, before we get to the stormtroopers, ask if what they're showing them.
Sure. Yeah. You kind of glance about to see. I mean, again, there's enough foot traffic in here that you can spot a couple of people moving through, and you see what looks like a Quarren is big satchel thrown over his shoulder, and he's just kind of doesn't have an animal with him. He's just moving along. If you're going to stop it and try to engage him, let's find out what kind of impression you're going to make. So this is going to be a social skills. Make a charm check, if you would, please.
Charm?
With the standard difficulty of 2.
All right. 2. You know what? I'm also going to use a light side point here.
All right. Give me them dark side.
And I can change one of these to a yeller, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's try this.
4 successes.
Nice.
Finally. Ember Squad. All right. You stop the Quarren and turns, looks at you and goes, yeah?
Hello, friend. I'm working here with my hauler MT droid, and we're gonna go buy some dust filters. You know how this planet gets. I notice everyone's showing, the guys in white up there, something, and I've just arrived from off world. I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to show these guys.
Oh, the Quarren turns back at you, and the tentacles on his face kind of flex into what you imagine is something of an expression of sympathy. And so pats you on the shoulder with this big, meaty hand and says, don't worry. I know exactly what you mean. I was pretty nervous the first time they started checking papers, too. Most of us don't have any. So don't be too worried. It's easy enough to avoid them. I can show you how.
I try to check if he's being sketchy.
Sure. Yeah. No, if you wanna make a check real quick, I would say that might be a perception check.
Okay. Perception.
Yeah, and that's going to be against. Actually, this is a contested roll. So what would his? So it would be a standard of 2.
Okay.
Yep, standard 2 die.
Rolling.
Dun,
dun, dun.
You have no idea, but you got a good feeling.
Okay. Yeah, tell me what you know, friend.
Well, I think Imperial activity's been getting a little rough around here lately. But for the most part, they're only stopping folks that seem to be bringing in lots of cargo. So if you look close, you'll see they're just stopping folks who've got the big Grobo lizards. If you don't have a Grobo lizard, you don't have much to worry about. They might check your droid for a restraining bolt. I'll give you that much of a warning.
Any restraining bolts on you guys?
Elo says, are you serious? A restraining bolt would be 3/4 of my body mass. It would weigh me down. I wouldn't be able to fly.
Sounds like.
What about me?
You don't have a memory of ever having a restraining bolt.
No, I do not believe I do, coworker.
Well, thank you for your time, friend.
Yeah, of course. Stay safe out there. Long live the Empire.
Yeah, you too.
And he turns and begins to march his way back towards the city.
Are we going to take this shortcut?
Shortcut?
The way around. I don't wish to be checked.
You don't wish to be checked?
No.
Well,
my insides are my business.
That's fair. You know, let's do our best to avoid the Imperial attention. Even if we don't have anything on us physically, we do have something to hide, and I'd rather they not even remember what we look like.
Yes, and I don't want anyone taking my lollipops. As I walk past, I put my hand on my compartment chest to guard my lollipops.
Just a droid and her lollipops. Don't mess with them.
All right. I guess from there, we're just trying our best to, like, we're not supposed to enter the city anyway, so we'll just kind of avoid their, like, the
vicinity.
I can
fly casual.
Yes. Can I
Gotcha.
can I do one quick while we're walking around? Is there any sort of like knowledge roll that I can do, like lore, or if I know of any like spots on this planet that are, you know, underground pathways, or any local taverns that have like hidey holes, or any place that if our contact had to flee or hide for a moment that they might go?
I would say make a core worlds check.
Okay.
So for you, it's going to be rolling that very tiny dice pool of 5 freaking green dice. And then the difficulty of this, I'm actually going to set the difficulty at 2, but I'm going to give you a setback die on this one.
Okay.
There's just been a lot of changes that have been made here in just the past 20 years.
So what am I adding to my regular roll?
So you're going to roll 2 purples and 1 black die for the setback.
Okay.
As you access your database to try to figure out where would be a good safe house. 3 successes, 2 threats, and a triumph. Oh my. Okay.
Okay.
So you know exactly where she would probably hide based off of like intel that you have been able to pull up in your database. There's a lot of likely places now that you have an idea of where Imperial placement is going into the city. You're starting to extrapolate logical spots that would be near the LZ but wouldn't give her away. Interestingly enough, there is a roadside diner not more than a kilometer away of people taking advantage of all the travelers that are coming and going out of this big metropolis. Easy enough. She might be getting a bite to eat right now for all you know, but that seems to be one of the most likely spots. Of course, you did roll 2 threats. So on top of immediately being able to triangulate a good likely position, just as you turn to say this to your friend Ortha, you hear the bucket head that has approached you as you've turned and looked at the private here. Hey, is that your droid? Let me see some papers. As you're being approached by one of the stormtroopers you were seeking to avoid.
Oof. I say, oh, we're just coming in to pick up supplies. We're not hauling anything in, sir.
Stormtrooper cranes his head and looks up at MT and then glances back at you and says, actually, you know what? I'm going to roll for the stormtrooper.
Yeah. MT hasn't turned around. MT keeps her back to the stormtrooper.
I actually have stormtrooper stats right here. So let me just pull those babies up. They're not great. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So I'm going to say I'll set this as a standard difficulty of 2. And yeah, that's fine. Let's roll it. Let's see what I get. 1 success. Okay, so the stormtrooper looks over MT for a second and says, you hear the clicking sound as he speaks and goes, I don't see a restraining bolt on this droid.
Says, that would impair its ability to haul. Look, these are converted droids, right? I fully admit that it's hard to get a proper hauler droid out here, and I take whatever I can get because those filters for the outside water extraction cores, they're heavy. And I can't do it myself, and neither can this little multi-tool guy.
The droid pops up over your shoulder as Elo appears and goes, I'm the multi-tool guy. Which just comes off the chirping.
I finally turn around, and MT is trying to make themselves look small, like a little smaller, and holds up the arms and just goes, I like to haul. And if it could roll it, if she could roll her eyes, she's rolling her eyes.
So your ocular lenses just go kind of fold up into your head, giving you a very bizarre disposition as the stormtrooper looks at you. It's all punctuated by the fact that Elo immediately just goes, and the stormtrooper looks back, and I want you to go ahead. That's some pretty fun role play. I'm going to say, go ahead and make a deception check here.
Oh boy.
Ortha, if you would please.
Oh, thank God.
However, Ortha, since you are making a deception check, I'm going to, because of MT's attempt to back you up on this, I'm going to give you a boost die.
Okay, great.
And the difficulty, and I'm almost certain I already know what the difficulty of this is, but let me just double check the stormtrooper stats. This is going to be fun. This is going to be funsies. 1 sec. Yeah, the difficulty is 1.
Okay. Here we go. Click roll dice.
4 successes, 1 advantage. You get the impression the stormtrooper doesn't want to deal with this. And
can I present that as mechanical fast talking?
Sure, you basically techno babble your way through where he just looks like he's getting impatient and says, all right.
No, you gotta understand here. The activator units on a traditional hauler, they're very expensive, but if you use a mountain walker, you can actually change the one from the legs to the arm, and it's able to actually carry about 3.
That's enough. Be quiet. I order you to be quiet. Yeah, the stormtrooper just says, all right, that's enough. Go on, move along.
You'll be sorry whenever you need to repurpose a droid.
The stormtrooper takes a step back and he holds his blaster rifle up and just kind of nods to you and then heads back to his checkpoint, just keeping it in the guarded position. And you hear Elo say, Wow, that was close. I hope the others are doing better than us.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The
Let's
George
get
Lucas
us.
light.
Yeah, as it's swiping. Are you hungry? And then proceeds.
Lollipop. The
No,
three of
go
you-
to the diner.
You're going to the diner? Okay, the three of you, what are y'all doing? Just keeping a good lookout? Are you looking in the area? Are you going more off-road? Are you planning? Okay, so you're going to kind of look in the surrounding areas? Okay.
Yeah, if they're like foothills or something. If they're going toward
Mhm.
the city, I think we're doing the maybe 180 line sweep around the foothills kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. All right. In which case, I would say if you like, you can make a perception check, but I'm also going to allow a survival check here to see if you can pick up signs of anybody who's been moving through the area, if anybody's been moving around, if anything has been left behind. The difficulty of this is going to be 2, and I'm going to set a setback die because it is really dark. It is not hospitable to being able to spot things out here further away from the city. So difficulty 2 with 1 setback, and all 3 of you can roll that. You can roll perception or you can roll survival. You get to pick.
Perception it is.
Perception it is.
That was 2 difficulties and a setback?
Yep, that's correct.
And if we haven't rolled since Myth's 5 no, doesn't roll math.
Myth is listen. Wait, I have to find Myth's voice. I'm more of a city folk myself. I don't really know too much about the foothills as far as things go. But I just rolled 2 successes and a threat.
Yeah, you did.
I'm gonna since I got 2 light side, I'm gonna use my second light side.
Your boost? Oh, okay. Okay, so Elias is no luck for Elias, unfortunately. But you can recover a strain, except for you didn't take one, so.
I'll pass a boost along to someone else.
Just can't win.
Noir, what is going on? What is going on over there?
Oh man!
Stucky. Thankfully, this didn't happen during takeoff. All right. The good news is Myth is going to come through on this. The bad news is Stucky and Myth are both going to gain a point of strain, which we can say that translates to y'all just basically stomping around into the bush, like looking for any evidence of a rebel agent that's been moving through here. Supposedly, Z is supposed to have left a sign or be within the area. Now, what you get with one advantage, Elias, is that even though you're not spotting any sign, with one advantage, you get the impression, especially because when you all landed, you could see the checkpoints. It's possible that Z thought this was a little too hot to stick around and didn't want to raise suspicion. Maybe she was having difficulty hiding here and didn't want to take any chances, or it's even possible that she was risk being discovered. And it's almost confirmed at the exact same moment that you're having that suspicion, Myth, that you pick up signs that an Imperials have moved through the area. And way I can tell you that is you come across what looks like a data pad in a small metal casing hidden in what looks like a small shrub that has been grown out and pulled slightly from the ground. It just barely catches a glint of the red light of the sun as y'all are moving through, and it attracts your attention. It's about 400 meters from the ship. You guys have wondered about that far away when you finally come across. So the ship is is off in the distance at this point. You can see this thing has been kind of wedged in what looks like underneath the stump of a very small one of these trees, like a younger version of these trees is growing up out of the ground.
And Myth is going to pull out the data pad. All right, let's see what we have here. And he's going to try and access. It's probably encrypted, I would assume.
It is, but I'm going to go ahead and just go out on a limb and say that you have that's an easy thing for you to enter your command code. Just
easy.
Ding, ding, ding. It accesses the data pad immediately, and you see a message. Imperials moving through area. Was almost compromised, went to local spot, and it gives the location a map. You see there is a diner. You're actually not far from it.
Well, Well, I did promise you something to eat, didn't I, Elias?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Do you see any sign of the Imperials?
There's some heavy boot prints through here looking like they might have moved in through the area. And looking towards the city, more likely than not, they're setting up checkpoints.
They've been through the area. And the area includes our LZ. Is it going to make evac harder? Do we need to move the ship?
I don't know about that yet, but at the very least, we need to make contact. We still have our papers for the ship, at least, are still good. And I can usually talk my way out of a situation if we deal with one of the bucket heads.
Bully for you. All right.
Just stay close to me. I'll do the talking.
All right.
And we'll head towards that diner.
Okay. So at this point, are y'all staying in comms with each other so that you know what the other team is doing? Are y'all just going to all kind of converge in the diner?
Yeah, I think
we should report back to the corporal.
Yeah, I think that's going to be Myth's first order of business, is just reporting back to the corporal and making sure that he's apprised of the situation and what we have here.
Okay.
Go into the city yet. So.
In which case, I'm going to make a quick roll for the corporal. As he's getting this information from both you and he's getting it from Team 2, so he is going to make a... Ooh, would this be... This would actually be a knowledge warfare check. I'm going to have him roll knowledge warfare.
Nice.
I'll set the difficulty. I'm going to say, maybe 2. But there's a lot of evidence. Yeah, I think that'll just be a standard difficulty. No, I'm going to spend a dark side point on my own NPC. And up that. All right, roll it. 1 failure, 3 advantages. I'm going to use those advantages. I'm going to give an advantage to your shooter. So I'm going to give that to Elias. I'm going to give a boost die to Elias. I'm going to give a boost die to MT, the medic, and I'll give a boost die to the social, our analyst. So Myth, take a boost die. I'll just burn all 3 of them. Okay, so
why do I need one?
Because y'all are going into it. Because as if I was a player at this table and I got boost die, I'd be like, I'm going to give it to the one that can bullseye a womp rat at 300 yards. So
I haven't shot. I didn't put that on.
Okay, never mind. Somebody take the gun away from me. All right. Tillo listens on the other side of the comm and just says, all right, let's go ahead and all of us converge in the diner. I might stay here with the ship just so that I can talk our way through it if the Imperials ask any questions as to why we're out here. So I'll make sure the LZ stays secured.
Well, we're a cargo vessel, or we're a transport vessel, and
couldn't afford the docking fees. Easy enough.
Exactly.
There's nothing illegal about parking out here.
Crew's gone out to look for more passengers.
So
right.
while we're I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that Elias is starting to sort of lope out front a little bit ahead of Stucky and Corporal Myth, and is moving low around some of these foothills. Just, we know something passed through here, and by my notes, our LZ was 3 kilometers from the city, which is quite a travel path, and so they're just being quiet, or taking us through a stealthier path just in case something comes past. I don't want to get surprised.
You don't want to provoke anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right.
I'd like to have the advantage if I provoke anything.
Okay. You got something, Noir?
Oh yeah, he's just gonna ask as they were walking towards the towards their location. So what's the deal with you two? I mean, what's your story? You're clearly good with computers. You're a shooter. What's your story?
Stony silence.
Oh, well, mine is quite simple. My family was displaced by the Empire, and I decided to do my part to help maybe push back against it.
Okay, so we got a good conscience here. And you?
I hook my grandma's farm.
One more time?
They took my grandmama's farm. And they definitely spit because of the dust on this planet. Mm-hmm. It's the dust.
Now that makes sense to me. You just smile.
How about you?
They took the sky from my homeworld. Race prototype ships. Like to do some illegal racing, and they just decided that they were going to regulate and enforce laws on the skies. I don't like that.
What kind of rules do they put on a sky?
Who gets to fly? Who has to stay grounded? Who gets to leave? Who gets to stay?
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody thinks they can control the sky, then what won't they take?
Take back the skies.
That's my goal, at least.
Can you see anything through those?
Only when I'm flying. They're lucky.
How is Myth doing with the terrain? Because Elias will check.
Myth is not having a good time. Myth is definitely a city kid, and y'all just took them on a hike through the country. Like this very nice jacket's got like some dust on the hem. The boots are getting scuffed up.
I have a question for you, Anita. Myth. How did Myth do through basic? And did you had to go through basic? I'm assuming because you're in the suck right now. So I'm guessing they had to put you through it.
Oh yeah, Myth at a certain point like got through basic, a lot of it through charm and force of personality, more so like making friends with the CEO.
Nice. Okay.
And has always been more of like generally the person that you go to when you want something. So like would maybe acquire things for people that couldn't readily be available through basic training. So kind of coasted through, but it's not here for this at this moment.
Awesome. You're basically describing my education and how I got out of everything. Just be really nice to everybody.
Well,
no, go ahead.
I just wanted to know if Myth would object out of pride or anything if Elias put a hand out every so often to help with the rocks and stuff.
Myth would not object. Myth would definitely take the hand.
Yeah, it just looks like you don't do this a lot, but
I appreciate it. I'll pay you back with a good meal, and maybe once we're off this planet, I could go for a hot bath, soak my fur. The fur on the face kind of bristles.
And keep it moving.
What you see as you all get closer and closer to your destination is there seems to be two highways, as it were. There's one that seems to be specifically designed for people who are transporting all their goods on the back of these giant frog lizard cow things. And there seems to be a more modernized highway that allows for repulsors to come through here and heavy like transports and trains and whatnot to move in and out of the city. Beyond that, though, everything is airborne, coming and going. So there is a charm, even though there's like this infernal glow to the surface of this planet. Y'all are starting to slowly find a charm in this place, in that it seems to be a modernized city that has refused to ignore or neglect its more rural beginnings, and has learned how to incorporate folks who don't want to live in the big city and who prefer to live a little further out into the frontier, and to be able to adapt and still associate and connect with the folks who live within the boundaries of the city itself. How long that lasts under the yoke of the Empire is hard to say. But the more and more y'all are encountering people, the more and more you're getting this sense, especially from conversation as y'all are walking by, that if there's one thing you could take away from this sort of general atmosphere of how people feel right now, it's anxiety. The big A seems to be everybody right now. Conversations you all hear from Galactic Basic to like across the spectrum of languages, you all hear basic expressions of anxiety and concern. Some of them are pro-imperial, some of them are not sympathetic to the Empire. Eventually, though, out of happenstance, it's only a matter of time until you catch up to what seems to be a very large, hunched over and unassuming droid being accompanied by their technician counterpart and a small little disc droid on his back. The party essentially reconnects as y'all are all heading to the same location, having reported in the same data that you've all come across. When you arrive at the destination, it is indeed a diner. Now, it's not out in the middle of nowhere. There is a sprawling, sparse urban environment outside the city. I wouldn't call it necessarily huge neighborhoods or whatnot, but you are coming across structures and whatnot that are set up along these highways. Some of them look a little more outdated. Some of them look a little more modern. But the place you're going to is a large eatery called Salutations. It is a large one-floor open sprawling space where speeders are parked out front. You can also see a few of these cow toads that are also parked out front. One of them is very slowly licking the eyeball of another one. They seem to have been at it for hours. And the other thing you see is lots of people coming and going out of this place. You don't see anything that looks threatening. You see mostly citizenry here. You also get the impression, just from the glow of this place, the outlined glow, you're getting a good snapshot of what the buildings of this planet normally look like. Under the darkness of the red dwarf star, everything here is built with some kind of illumination into the corner of all the buildings, giving it a very, and I'm sorry to do this to you all, a very Tron look, because it's my thing. But red outlines everywhere, and pathways and ramps all illuminated and traced. So easy to see where you're going, easy to spot. Approaching the diner, they've kind of turned it into a little bit of an art form. And some of the illumination actually forms into some of these beautiful sculpted advertisements that you've been seeing across town. And as you all approach, everyone make a perception check for me, if you would.
I'm scared.
The difficulty of these perception checks are going to be 3.
3 purples, yeah?
3 purples.
I'm going to add a boost die to mine.
MT is like, what planet?
I'm so sorry.
MT is just like, wow, those are red lights.
Do I have a boost die? Where did we get boost die?
Do you have a boost die? I wasn't keeping track.
We did have that one from the 5 successes.
Oh, but you gave those
Damn.
to the shooter and MT and okay, never mind. I don't have one.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, Stucky, because you've described yourself as scared, and that's exactly why you just gained 2 more strain.
3 successes, 1 threat from Myth.
MT senses your stress levels rise, and that is why she is distracted.
I'm going to say the reason why you're accumulating that strain is because as y'all are approaching this diner, Salutations is fully staffed by droids that are just delivering food and drinks to everybody and thanking them and wishing them to have a nice day. They're everywhere. Little hover droids just moving in and out. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you for visiting Salutations.
The voodoo.
As we stroll in, I go, Salutation. That's a weird name for a place. Come on, Ello, let's go.
Sounds good. Are we going inside? Do you think they serve droids? There's plenty of droids here. They must serve them, right? Ooh. Do you think oil baths are on the menu? Is that something I could order? This, of course, is coming off as these excited chirps as Ello just kind of hums next to your head and shaking with vibration of excitement.
I go, we'll see, but I have a feeling that their oil is probably a little dirtier than you're going to want in your systems.
With 3 successes and a threat, Myth, you can also gain a point of strain as the hike has not been fun for you, moving through the bush and then walking the sides of the road. But 2 successes, and Elias, you and Stucky. The thing is, as stressed as Stucky is, Stucky has those eyes of a fighter pilot, somebody who can spot. And then you, of course, being a sharpshooter, the 2 of you, as y'all are approaching Salutations, and you see the just array of species that are located out in like the windows, the diner windows, as you're all approaching, you can see inside, sitting at one of the bars, is a hooded figure, and just like huddled over a plate, you see the distinct spotting of what looks like a small green antenna just peeking up just past that hood.
I'm not gonna make any qualms about it. I need to get out of this droid infested area. I'm just gonna walk my way over and go. See, Prello.
Okay, so just like that,
power walk behind you.
Okay. Stucky moves right into the diner. And you get the impression, Elias, as Stucky moves into the diner, just as Stucky throws the door open and goes inside, they have probably spotted what you've spotted as he strides up to the bar. The place is packed. A lot of people in here. Lots of conversation. It's actually kind of hard to hear the moment you enter because it's like that sort of packed environment, everyone just talking over each other like a loud, clingy bar, but it's a diner. Hover droids everywhere. They're able to move throughout the crowds without having to like squeeze between people, delivering food to tables and saying, orders up, as they come zipping past you. Stucky, you move up and say, Z Prello. And the Rhodian that looks at you. Rhodians kind of have a disposition that always looks like they're surprised. Their eyes are always quite large. And you can see the sudden stiffening of the antenna as the Rhodian suction cupped hands grab you by the arm, and she pulls you close and says, please don't say my name out loud like that. You can hear the stereophonic noise of a very agitated Rhodian say that to you in your ear.
It's time for us to go.
Are you the extraction team? You're here already? And she looks, and then she says, you're late.
We'll talk about it on the way to the LZ. We've got to go.
Who else do you have here with you?
You'll see on the way out of here, please.
She is oddly hesitant.
I think
She
at this
glances.
point,
She glances past you. Who does she see?
I think Myth has pulled up on the other side and has taken another seat at the counter. I'll get 2 orders of the deep fried noodle legs.
If you order something, a droid is going to deliver it to you. Let's just go.
And I just sort of go to Z. There's friends here.
She glances to her left and looks back at the rest of you and says, "We need to talk, but we can't do it here."
Elias is a bit hung back, probably against the wall of the door, such that when Z looked over her shoulder, probably saw him. They're kind of looking to see if anyone else is noticing our group. And
Make a perception check.
Sure. And though I appreciate the mechanical advantage, what difficulty?
So the difficulty is 2, but in the chaos of this diner, I'm giving you 2 setback dice.
Oh, that's going nowhere, baby. Sorry, that's Wednesday. But the point being, as Z looks over, they look cool for just a second, and then they take their lollipop out of their mouth.
Right. Take a point of strain, if you would.
Okay. Yep, that's about what happens when I roll that check. That is in no way surprising.
Yeah, Elias, when was the last time you were around this many people crammed into a small space that don't have any clue? Like, you are, think about where Elias is coming from and what Elias is doing. The truth is, when was the last time you were in a closely packed room filled with people who have no idea what's going on in the galaxy right now? These folks seem completely oblivious as to what's happening around them, as to what's going on, as to what it might be happening soon. Everyone is enjoying their meals and having conversations. There is no war as far as they're concerned.
Alice, how can someone be, quote, already here and yet late?
Is that a riddle?
No, though Ortha did say to get better at humor, but the target we are meeting said that we are already here with surprise, but then said we were late. Explain. Are they in danger?
Yeah, or we are.
I shall extract the target. And MT starts walking over to the counter.
Okay. You walk over to the counter. She's right now, it looks like she's engaged in conversation with Myth, as Myth has just ordered some food. She leans in and looks at you, Myth, and just says, "Things are a little more complicated."
I stand behind Myth. Hello. Are you in danger?
How?
We're going to attract too much attention here. We need to get out. Let's step
can I
outside
get those
and
to
have
go,
a
please?
Okay. A few moments later, you emerge from the diner with the group with bags of food in your hand. People are walking by and having conversations and whatnot, but as you move out, the Rhodian, she just kind of pulls that hood up and leads you all a little further away from the main area where people are entering and exiting. And you guys head over to where you see, looks like a trash area where one of these droids is just dumping trash into this compactor that it's immediately, and you see smoke coming up. The droid buzzes right past all of you.
Absolutely. The compactor droid, no thank you. Can Stucky hang back to see if he can procure a vehicle of some sort, like a land vehicle, a getaway?
When you say procure, what exactly are you looking to do this right now?
While they're talking, while they're talking, he's scoping one out. He's not going to do actual stealing.
Okay. That's fair. All right. I would say, let's make a perception check with the difficulty of 2.
Okie dokie. Because he saw that compactor droid just slamming metal in the
Like, yeah,
nightmare.
no, I'm gonna look over here and see what's going on in the parking lot.
I'm being useful. I swear, this isn't fear. One success.
One success. There is a speeder. It's towards the area where you all first walked up onto the ramp, but it has a complete open seated area, much like Luke's old speeder on Tatooine. It's kind of convertible, as it were, has easy to access the interior. You'd have to hotwire it, but it's possible, yes. Okay. Especially because you've got an engineer and yourself that know how to do these sorts of things.
Okay.
So there is a possibility.
I'm going to just in the comms real quick to Ortho, give make and model. I need you to start thinking of some ways to make that go without a key.
I tell Ello, Ello, eyes and ears, as I walk over to go check out this land speeder.
Is it okay that I don't have any ears? As Ello follows after you.
Yeah, it's the figure of, it's fine.
Okay. Just follows after you. The rest of you pulled aside. And a very shifty Z is just looking around, and Z huddles in and says, "It's not Bacta they're holding there."
Oh, if it's not Bacta, then what is it?
I'm not sure. It's some kind of agent, some kind of liquid. And it's not lightly guarded anymore either. They used to have Bacta there, but the small facility in which it was being held, it's now heavily guarded. And it has what looks like some kind of agent, some kind of chemical agent that they've installed inside. I counted 25 barrels of it when I was last in the vicinity. It's not far from here, but I can't imagine whatever it is, it's any good.
Oh, I do not have enough compartments for that.
I don't think we're going to need any compartments for it. Maybe enough for a sample to take with us, some data.
It's trickier than that. Things have gotten a little complicated since we were last in contact. I'm assuming you're the ones that got my message.
Affirmative.
Yes.
The Empire's up to something. I think they're using this planet as a staging ground of some kind. I'm not sure for what just yet, but it seems to me like they're starting to install some kind of infrastructure here, like they're planning on building.
Then we get you back to the corporal and we take care of it. You're our primary objective.
I understand. I can't leave until I know what's in that facility. My job, my orders were to uncover exactly what was being kept here. I was told Bacta. I went to confirm the intelligence, and it's not. So now I need to reconfirm. How much time do we have for an exit window?
We're at about
37
40
hours.
37 hours?
37
39
hours.
when we landed, and then the 2 now.
I might be able to do that. As she is saying that, Ortha, you move over to this speeder. And as you approach the speeder, you round the corner. As I said, it was, as I described, it is on the edge of the sort of like the cornered area of where the diner is. As you approach this cornered area, you see two things happening. You see citizens parting ways, like the sea kind of breaking apart, and you see what looks like a heavily armored hover transport pulling up in front of the diner. This is very much like the one you might have seen in The Mandalorian. It was made in, as it just comes pulling up, and the doors on the sides open as you see stormtroopers beginning to emerge from it. And as they do, one by one of them says, "Check the diner first. The Rodian's probably inside." Copy that. And they start heading towards the diner.
I whisper on comms, we've got company. Lots of company.
You count 6 stormtroopers emerging from the transport.
Is our target considered a civilian?
The Rhodian?
Yeah.
No, she is a an intelligence officer for the Rebel Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Half a dozen.
Then I guess I just head in the location you say, just to like be a physical object between us and the important people.
Okay. So you start moving towards the diner. As you reach like to the edge, the corner of where you see Ortho located, you see stepping out of this transport and is an Imperial officer. The officer will make the 7th person that's here. He has a small blaster, dressed in the grays, has the rank of a lieutenant. As he steps out and says, "Fan out, find the Rhodian, and if you see them interacting with any civilians, I want them arrested and brought to me immediately. Lock this whole place down. Immediately."
I unclip my holster.
We gotta leave, and we gotta leave now.
Let's get you out of here.
Ortho, can you get me that land speeder?
I start working on it.
You immediately dash towards the land speeder. As you leap into the land speeder and start trying to hotwire this thing, a few of the stormtroopers that have gone inside, you see the person at the diner holding their hands up and talking to them, and then nodding, and then pointing out in the direction of you and saying something out loud. And that is where we are going to stop tonight.
Uh-oh. Immediately snitched on.
Yeah, I saw a Rhodian. We don't get many Rhodians. They're outside. Look, I'm a loyal citizen of the Empire. I don't know what's going on.
Fortunately, we have a medic droid who will be able to immediately provide them with stitches.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Y'all, that is going to conclude the first part of this mission. We are at, what are we at? I'm going to mark the time. We are 37 hours left of that window. 37 hours into the mission. You've uncovered intelligence that would indicate that that is not Bacta in Demthar Hills, that the Empire apparently has got something else brewing in this facility that she has uncovered. Things may have just gotten a little more complicated than first thought. And to make things worse, the Imperial garrison may have just spotted all of you. I'm going to hand out XP between games, so keep an eye on ye old message threads. And the streampunks will be back next Monday night to find out what happens with Ember Squad. Thank you all so much for joining the rebellion tonight, y'all. We will catch you next Monday night as we go back and fight some stars. Until then, may the Force be with you.